Hi guys. So busy that really podcasting is kind of bottom of the list now. And it's a bit disappointing because I was really getting into the groove and then suddenly the music career took off. Just in terms of, sales and revenue and things like that. So, obviously you've got to kind of think to yourself, well, podcasts not making any money, but music is. What does that mean? Unfortunately, it means that probably I'm not going to podcast very often anymore, which is a real shame, isn't it? Because I thought it was quite a cool podcast, but uh, everything's on hold, and I think it's a really good bit of business advice, especially when you're looking at making passive income. Don't ever delete anything; just sit on things as long as you're not paying for them. So, I nearly deleted all of my Kindle books this morning because I've I've changed them so many times that they bear no relevance now to the actual films, the animations. So the stories have changed. The text has changed. As I was recording for the film, I kept changing things because things didn't sound right, and some things made me completely tongue-tied. Lots of things actually. It's really interesting. You can read stuff much quicker and much more succinctly than you can read stuff out loud. You read it in your head. Do you see what I mean? And when you start narrating things, suddenly you realise, right, I'm going to have to get rid of that. There were other bits that I just deleted, just little sections I deleted because I just thought, no, God, no, that's not working orally. Do you see what I mean? And I found that whole sort of experience quite interesting in terms of when I do a podcast, I just ad lib and talk rubbish really about what my day and what I've been doing and what I am doing and what I want out of life, whatever. But when I read a story, I'm much more deliberate, much slower. I've got to be slow because if you're too quick, you make loads and loads of mistakes and it's a bloody nightmare in the edit. Do I want to do audiobooks? Probably not. I was thinking about Audible having my books, and I was thinking about, do I put my books, these narrations, I could just put them on a podcast, for example, and get ad revenue. I'm not sure what that means in terms of, Audible has access to my stuff because all the podcasts go on Audible, but you're not selling them, but you are getting ad revenue. And I'm thinking to myself, well, the ad revenue is so appalling, guys. It really is. I mean, I don't feel there's been a real shift in the last couple of weeks. In a matter of weeks, I feel a shift. So things that haven't made me revenue suddenly are making revenue, and things that have always been not lucrative exactly, but pin money, a bit of side hustle, are suddenly just falling by the wayside. I wonder if that's true for everybody else. I wonder if what could be the reason for that. Is it because the weather's improving? I know that people listen less to podcasts in when the weather gets good because they start going on holidays, start going more socializing, etc., etc. Are podcasts more of a winter thing? Could be, couldn't it? That could be the case. Is it because, there was a general election? We've had two prime ministerial deaths and now the UK general election. When there's lots of things happening in the world, I know that my podcasts suffer because they're not current affairs. And I did start a current affairs podcast, but I haven't got time to do it. I mean, this is the other thing. Podcasting actually takes quite a bit of time. I still think it's okay for a side hustle, but I wouldn't, you won't feed the cat with the money that you get from it. So I think really, from my point of view, whereby clearly the music, my career is in music. I've got a music podcast, but I'm not allowed to play music on it, but I can talk about music. So if you want to hear about that, all my Suzuki stuff and what have you, you can go along to that. That's the I Sutherland show. But, it's not the best medium for a musicianship podcast. I mean, who wants to hear the dry matter? Because music, unless you're playing it, is very dry. When you're describing it and you're explaining it, it's just very, very dry, isn't it? So it kind of, I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking, well, what the thing is, I'm multimedia. I'm multifaceted, and I use multimedia. So I've got, it's all storytelling, but some of it's podcasting, some of it's film, some of it's music, some of it's literature. Which one lends itself best to which genre? See what I mean? So now that I'm doing these animated films, they don't work on a podcast because they're visual. The music doesn't work on a podcast because it's audible, but the advertisers don't like it. It would be a different kettle of fish if I was actually selling them, but who's going to buy? Do you see what I mean? Who's going to buy a 10-minute animation or a 3-minute song? The world doesn't work like that anymore. The world streams everything. So you have to think, right, okay, so actually, in fact, I have to look at that a bit differently now as well, because there's so little money in streaming that, if you don't manage that properly, you're going to end up just being something like, a hobo musician going from place to place, warbling tunes, and for a pittance. Do you see what I mean? And is that what you want to do? I mean, fortunately, I've got enough skills to have set up the Suzuki School so that, that kind of it gives me an edge, if you like. So not only am I a musician doing film scores, but I'm also a teacher. So I've got that kind of double edge. And I think this is true of a lot of people today. You may have one skill, but you've probably got 4 jobs, And lots of us are doing that. So, for example, if you're if you were a seamstress, if you're good at sewing, you'd maybe have a repair sideline, your side hustle for repairing clothes, and then you'd make all your own clothes as well, and then you'd make the kids' clothes, and then perhaps you'd start making costumes for other mums' kids, and you've got the kind of side hustles. I mean, you're a seamstress, but you've got many different ways of being a seamstress. Do you see what I'm saying? And I think that's true with a lot of things these days. And because being a seamstress actually is quite labour intensive. It's not like you can use AI to do things for you, but you can use AI to do all your marketing for you, and your films. And funny enough, my daughter's putting on this ball in Brighton in August or November, I think, and she's just putting up these little trailers. They're so good, and I thought, that's just brilliant that she can, she doesn't have to worry. I mean, they take a while because I've done them myself, but she doesn't have to sort of labour anymore. As we used to do as graphic designers. I remember doing my A-level art in graphic design, and it was all sort of letraset, and it's very laborious. Just for one flyer would take 3 weeks. God, thank God we don't have to do that anymore. And you can also use AI as a design tool, to help you design stuff and clothes and what have you. And then you can use AI to upload your designs onto various patterns, drop shipping and all of that sort of things. So actually, tons and tons of stuff that you can use, quite high-end, affordable computerized systems to improve your business outlet, your capacity, your your brand, and all of that sort of thing. And I do think we're all doing that, aren't we? And we're all, we're not. I can't afford somebody to do my marketing, sadly. And I can't afford somebody to even play or sing because, technically I'm a composer. I don't really want to have to, well, I don't mind playing, actually. I don't particularly like singing at all. I don't, it's because I'm not very good at it. I don't like doing anything I'm not very good at. it's, I'd much rather just write the piece of music and then hand it over to an arranger and for them to arrange the piece and for me to get the conductor and say, well, look, I want that bit coming in loud there, please. And, so it goes on. I'd much rather do it. Well, they wouldn't do it right, would they? You'd be like, no, I could do that better myself. But you know what I mean? It would be, I aspire one day to, I dream about somebody coming along and taking all of my songs and arranging them properly and putting them out either as published scores, as a musical, a Hollywood musical, an extravaganza, all of the above, and with a full orchestra, because as a classically trained musician, the full orchestra is la creme de la creme, and I do dream of it. And at the moment, my full orchestra's on top of my piano on all the software. I'd really like a full orchestra. And at the moment, I'm doing sort of 3-minute pieces. I'd like to do 20-minute pieces. I'd like to do whole concerts. That would be really nice. Unfortunately, at the moment, the way my career is at the moment, it's short, sweet, and wham bam, thank you, ma'am, for most of the stuff. But the future holds so much promise, and it's another thing as well, isn't it? You can get so wrapped up in the minutiae, but you're not looking at the future, the big picture, what could occur. And you could have watched it and lose sight of those dreams. This morning I spent about 4 hours trying to get a score up on one of my sites, and it wasn't working. And I just kept trying and trying and trying. And I thought, I could have written a bloody concerto in that 4 hours. Honestly, I really could have. So yeah, anyway, that's so be it. So guys, not so many podcasts coming up, maybe one a week or so, just a little catch up there. Yeah, I just can't, I can't be bothered anymore, and I haven't got the time, really haven't got the time. But, things change, and it may be that I'm a bit of a winter podcaster. That would be quite cool, wouldn't it? Just podcast in the winter months. All of the podcasts are staying. They're all there. All of the stuff I've ever done, all the music, the ringtones, all the tips, all the advice, all the business stuff, it's all there still, all the diaries. But yeah, this is really a sort of, I wouldn't say a goodbye, it's an au revoir. As I get on with I've already got another piece to write today, so I can see me getting to the stage where I'm composing a piece of music every day, if not a different piece, maybe 2 a week. I can really see that that's warranted in the not too distant future. And that is a full-on music career move. So there will be very little time for anything else, I'm afraid. So guys, look, have a great week, and I'll try and pop in next week and just give you a catch up. Look, if you want to see the film, Strata 5 went up last night. Really pleased with that. See what you think. It's all on YouTube. Everything's free. There's a new track on there, my new single, which isn't on. I did send that off to my distributor yesterday, but it hasn't gone live yet, annoyingly. But it will be live, hopefully, by the end of the day. Usually just takes a day or two. So, I hope you like it. It's called Queen of the Gutter. And I've just put up the solo piano version as well, which is quite nice. That's it. Speak to you soon, guys. Have a great day.